Hey everybody, I know I'm on a couple minutes early, but just in case anybody else is on and wants to hang out for a couple minutes. So excited to be training with you guys tonight. I know I was originally going to be the first trainer for Krista, sweet Krista, and then I got vertigo, which I don't know if any of you have ever had vertigo, but it is horrible. And it started out, I was just a little bit dizzy, and then I laid down, and then it got to be where if I moved my head just an inch, I thought I was going to throw up. So I thought, there's no way I can do this video. So I apologize that I wasn't able to do it. I think Diane Ferris is the one who stepped up and had some stuff ready to go, so that is awesome. Hi, Kim. So I will wait just a minute. Let's see what time it is. 5:59. Okay. Hi, Shay. I don't remember where all of you guys live. Oh, my sweet Karen McMahon. It is gorgeous here. I'm just going to tell you that our weather this weekend is beautiful. It totally makes me long for summer. It's like 82. I was out sitting by the pool all day. I came in and cleaned myself up just for you because, it's video, not a conference call. But it has been really nice. Okay. Oh, gosh, it's not 6 o'clock yet. I'm kind of a timely person. I don't want to start too early. So we'll give them a minute. I can't read the comments. The number of people watching our video is increasing. 10 people are watching. We have 10 people. That's so exciting. All right. Well, I'm going to go open my door for a second because it's really warm in here. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, are we ready now? Let's get started. I'm Jennifer Keller, and thank you, Krista, so much for putting together these trainings. For all of you old timers that remember when we used to have jammies and jewelry on Sunday night, that was awesome, and that went on for several years, and this is kind of like the new and improved jammies and jewelry. So I know Chris has lined up a ton of great speakers over the next few months, and I love that you can go back and watch, and I love that because it's video, I can show you. It's like you can have visual aids, even though I was looking at some stuff and it's going to be backwards. But anyways, let's talk about sponsoring. I know when I hear people train, I always think, I just want the nitty gritty. I want to know, what does she say? What does she do? What exactly do I do to sponsor? And I'm going to get into some of the practical things that I say and that I do. But I really think when it comes to sponsoring that you have to start with yourself and your mindset of why you want to sponsor, because there's a difference between whether you want to sponsor for you or you want to sponsor for her. And what I mean by that is, and maybe you're not sure of the difference, but some of the difference is if you're kind of thinking, oh, I just need one more. I just need one more. If I could just get one more. That is sponsoring for yourself, I'm going to say. The other thing that's sponsoring for yourself is when you have that fear of, I'd really like to sponsor, but I don't want, people to think I'm signing them up just to make money off of them. Again, that's for you, that's about you. But if you flip that around and you make it about her, then your come from is different. So for example, like I think in my life, and I've been selling Premier for 16 years. So I have been with this company a long, long time. And I know what a blessing this company has been for me personally, for my family. My kids are in a Christian, they'll both be in a Christian high school next year because Premier pays for it. I have tangible benefits that I've gotten from this company. And so when I look for people to share Premier with, I think, how can Premier bless her life the way it's blessed my life? Because I can't imagine my life without Premier. And not just the financial part, but the friendships and the confidence that this business has given me and the relationships and all that. So when I look for people to talk to about Premier, I'm thinking, how can this business be a good fit for her? And, maybe you haven't been in that long. Maybe you can't say this has been a huge blessing in my life yet. But even if you have that feeling of this is something different, or even just I'm really enjoying this, think when you look for people, I want to find someone where she's going to enjoy it like I do. I want her to get out of this business what I get out of this business. So start with that, with kind of your mental, how you're approaching people. And then I think to sponsor successfully, you really have to believe that this business works. Because if there's some little part of you that thinks, well, yeah, I really want to sponsor, but I'm just not quite sure this is really working for me, that's going to come through. What you believe is what will come through when you talk to other people. So I think what makes you feel like you're successful in this business is when you've got some things on your calendar, whether it's jewelry shows or just some events or setups, a fundraiser, anything. But when you have activity on your calendar, then you are going to feel successful. And I say this all the time from my good friend Gayla. She always says, when you have jewelry shows, you make money. And when you make money, you get excited. And when you get excited, you sponsor. But it all comes back to the jewelry shows. So that's where you're going to get your confidence. And not that you have to feel like, gosh, if I'm not doing 10 shows a month, I'm not successful, so I can't sponsor. No. If your goal is 2 shows or 2 events a month, and you're doing 2 shows or events a month, you are rocking your business, and you should feel confident that you are meeting your goals. And if you're meeting your goals, why wouldn't you want to help someone else meet their goals? So come from it with that point of view. And then you have to believe in the $3.95. And I know we are just coming off a great promotion in February where it was only $1.95, and you might be thinking, oh well, next time Premier comes out with a great promotion, I'll try and sponsor again. No. The $3.95 is awesome. I have literally signed up over 100 people for $3.95 plus the boutique, but at least the $3.95. Keep in mind, up until, I guess it was 2015, so I've been selling Premier for 14 years, and they never discounted it, ever. So you can definitely sign people up for $3.95, but you've got to balance it. And well, first you've got to believe in it. If you don't believe that's worth it, or if you don't can kind of back up the reasons of why that's a good investment, then you're not going to convince anybody, because like I just said, what you believe is what will come through. So when you tell somebody that it's $3.95 to get started, it's kind of like one of those scales, where you have both sides and you say $3.95, boom. And then all of a sudden it's unbalanced. And what you have to do is you have to add the value on the other side to bring that up so that the value equals the cost. So when I actually share Premier, I actually slow down during that part, because I want them to understand what every single part of that $3.95 covers. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about sharing the business. You want to be able to share the business confidently, fairly quickly, and not sound like you're reading it. So this is something that you can do, that you can get really good at, because you can practice. And I thought, I have to keep looking over here at the clock because I have no idea what time it is. I thought, because I do talk fast, and I don't even know how much time I have, but I thought I'll just share with you my OP, or my way that I share the business. And I will put this in the Facebook group, all my notes and outlines and everything I'm saying, I'll post it when I'm done. But when I talk to women about Premier, and I do come to it with confidence, I actually, if someone will give me the time to where I can explain how this business works, at the end of it, they don't sign up, I'm shocked. I think, what part didn't you hear? What part should I go back and tell you again? But this is basically my OP. And you can time me. I'm probably 10, 12 minutes at the most. So I tell ladies, I have talked to literally hundreds of women about this business. And while there's always a ton of questions, it usually just boils down to 3 things. They want to know, can I make any money? How do I keep this business going? And how much is it going to cost? So that's basically what I'm going to tell you. So first, can you make any money? Yes, of course you can make money. And there's 2 ways to make money with Premier. And the first is to sell the jewelry. And you make 50% of everything you sell. So if a customer buys a $50 necklace from you, she's going to write you a check for $50. You're going to keep $25, and you're going to send Premier $25. And you get paid that 50% every time you sell a piece of jewelry. Whether it's at a jewelry show, whether it's someone just needing a gift for a birthday, at a boutique, during a office setup, on a Facebook show, anytime you sell that jewelry at full price, you are going to make 50%. So that's one way to make money. The other way to make money is to sponsor. And sponsoring is optional. You don't get any pressure from me or from Premier, but that's where your long-term income kicks in. And the way the sponsoring works is you make a 10% commission 3 levels down on the wholesale. So let me paint a little picture. Let's just say, Shay, that you decide you want to do this and you become a jewelry lady. And you go out and you have a $500 show. How much are you going to make that night? $250, that's right. Now let's say you sponsor Karen. And Karen becomes your child, because we're kind of a family business. So Karen becomes your child. She has a $500 show. She makes $250. Premier is going to pay you $25 from that show. See how that works? And then let's say Karen sponsors Joan. And Joan becomes your grandchild. Joan has a $500 show. Joan makes $250. Premier pays Karen and Shay $25 from that show. So you get paid that 10% on your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. Do you have any questions on how you make money? No. Go on to the next section. The second question I get, of course, is how do you keep this business going? And even my husband, who is super supportive now, in the beginning was like, okay, your family and friends will have shows for you, and then what are you going to do? So again, I think there's lots of reasons that this business keeps itself going, but I'm just going to highlight the top 3. And the top 3 are, 1, we have a great guarantee on our product. The second is we have an amazing hostess plan. You know, once the sales get to $100, the hostess gets 30% free. So if she has a $100 show, she gets $30 free. If she has a $1,000 show, she gets $300 free. And for you to give her all of that free jewelry, that only costs you $8 out of your profit, because Premier pays for the rest. And then in addition, she can earn 2 $50 bonuses. $50 if she has $100 in advance orders, and $50 if 3 of her friends book shows. And those each cost you $6 for the ones that she earns. So if she earns both those bonuses and you give her the 30%, that's only going to cost you $20 out of your profit. And let me tell you, if she gets both of those bonuses, that is a great show for her and a great show for you. So that hostess plan, because of that, I have hostesses now that are on their 7th, 8th, 9th shows with me. We come out with new jewelry 3 times a year, and a lot of them will just keep having shows year after year. So I love the hostess plan. So you've got the guarantee, you've got the hostess plan, and then finally, I love that we do a presentation, because I never wanted to sell anything to anybody. I never have sold anything to anybody. I've never had that kind of job. But what I do is I show jewelry, because jewelry's personal. If a woman loves it, can't talk her out of it. She doesn't like it, you can't talk her into it. So I can just show you our jewelry. I can show you how versatile it is, all the different ways you can wear it. I can take all my jewelry off and show you how naked I look without it. But I love the presentation part of it, because then I just get to help ladies shop. So you've got your guarantee, your hostess benefits, and the presentation. Any questions on that part? And they usually say no. So then the third part is, how much does it cost to get started? And I'll say, before I get into the details, let me mention they do have a financing option. And with the financing, it's 0 money down, interest-free for 6 months. So keep that in mind. But there are 2 parts to getting into Premier. And the first is a $395 authorization and application fee. And what that covers is your right to be a jeweler for a year and to buy the jewelry at the 50% off price. You can also sell the jewelry in all 50 states and Puerto Rico. They send you a monthly sales report that shows your activity, your downline's activity, a commission check if you're sponsoring, so you don't have to keep track of your own sales. They pre-package each order for each hostess and guest. I think that's why hostesses keep having shows, because we make it so easy for them. They file your state sales tax for you. So let's say you go to Arizona to visit your friend and you do a show there. One that's now a business trip, so you can write that off. Home-based businesses are great for taxes, and they will take care of that state's sales tax for you. They also have a toll-free number, and I know a lot of companies have that, so you might be thinking, what's the big deal with that one? But what I love about Premier is there's no voicemail. You actually get real people every time you call. They even answer the phone, how may I serve you? And then to me, the biggest part of that $395 is the shipping. If you order samples or supplies from them, they don't charge you shipping. Basically, you pay $395 for your office staff in Dallas to take care of all your needs, and then they don't nickel and dime you through the year and ask you for more money, which is great. Included in that is a great literature package with catalogs, order forms, all the paperwork you need to get your business started. And then finally, there's a website that you can submit your orders, track your orders, view the promotions and that kind of thing. So that is what makes you a jewelry lady, that $395. Now, what most girls do is they get the boutique because you're going to want to have some jewelry to show. So the boutique is something Premier offers only to new jewelers, and it's $1,300 worth of jewelry that they give you for $475. So it's 30 pieces, it's all their best sellers, it's all versatile, they work well together. They give you all the supplies and display stuff that you need to get your business started. And then they also give you that 65% discount on some samples to get you started. So the total investment is $870 plus tax. And I know I've talked to women who have been looking at franchises and they're like, oh, this is such a great deal to get a business started. And then other women just look at me and they're like, if I had $900, I wouldn't need to sell Premier in the first place. So, I get that it's an investment, but the majority of what you're paying for are the samples that those are now your tax deductible accessories that you get to wear and show. And the bottom line is we make 50% of everything we sell. So the reason our investment, actually one of the reasons our investment may be a little bit higher, is because this is a real business. You can actually make money from this business. So, and then there's the financing. The financing, 0 money down, interest free for 6 months. You do have to be approved for it, but that is a great option too. And if that's not an option for you, you can just start with the $395, and Premier will give you 30 days to get that boutique at the same price. Any questions on that? So before I go on, I really want to spend time on each one of those points of the $395. So I don't just tell them that the hostesses' orders are prepackaged. I tell them hostesses love that. I tell them that they'll file your state sales tax for you, so you can go visit that friend. That now becomes a business trip. So I'm adding value to that $395 as I go through all of those points. And then I forgot, I usually add at the end, women ask me all the time, how long is it going to take me to pay that money back? And I'll say, usually the $395 is probably 1 to 2 shows. The boutique is probably 2 to 3 shows after that. So it's really how quickly do you want to show that jewelry, and you'll make that money back. I ask her if she has any questions, and then I'll say, okay, well, let me finish up, tell you a couple last things. We have a quick start plan where if you do 6 shows within 45 days of the launch party, you can get another $200 in free jewelry. Your launch party is where you're going to invite everybody you've ever met in your entire life, tell them all to bring friends. I come do the presentation for you. That night you're the jeweler, so you get the profit and the future bookings on your calendar, as well as the hostess, and you get all the free jewelry. And then just some last things is, we have no quotas, we have training available. One thing that's unique about Premier is they are biblically based. I always include that. So you will see New Testament scripture in their newsletters, at their conferences. That's part of who they are. And then I'll finish by saying, that's about it. What are your questions? And this is where I think sometimes we blow it a little bit, because we do such a good job sharing the plan and she doesn't have any questions. So we say, okay, well, let me know what you think. And we just let her just drift off like that. But instead, what if you said something like, well, let me tell you what the next step is. Do you think if you were going to do Premier, would you finance? And let's say she says yes. Okay, great. Well, we can actually go online right now and see if you get approved. Are you in front of a computer? Go right in for the computer. Or you can, a lot of times I'll have them give me the information and I'll type it, because I swear Premier with that online financing thing, 50% of the time they get stuck, and then you have to call, and then they think it's a sign that maybe I shouldn't do this because it got stuck. Anyways, so I'll say, are you in front of a computer? Let's just see if you get approved, because if you are, it sounds like you want to do this, so it's pretty much a no-brainer, right? And I'll just go right in. If she says, well, I need to talk to my husband, no problem, absolutely talk to your husband. One thing though, when you talk to him, just from my own experience, make sure you sound excited, because it sounds like this is something you want to do. So if you're excited, he will be more excited with you. And then I'll make a time to call and follow up with her the next day. So kind of the closing thing, but I would go straight for that financing if possible. You've told her everything she needs to know. If she doesn't need to check with the husband, maybe you can just sign up right there. Okay, so moving on. That was pretty quick. Okay, let me see what I got here. Okay, so that's how I share it. But of course, you might be thinking that's great, but where am I going to find the people to share the business with? And you find some out and about in your life for sure, but the majority of the people that I find that I sponsor come from my shows. And so you want to have a good sponsoring activity. You want to make sure you don't prejudge the crowd and, decide that nobody's interested. So I always do a sponsoring activity. And what I do at my shows is I do the purse game, and I start with P is for Premier, explain the guarantee, and then my second letter is M, and I'll say M stands for money. And I'm sure most of you did not come here tonight looking for a new job, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you a little bit about how this business works. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take about 3 minutes, tell you how this works, but we're going to do it Price is Right style. So I use this sponsoring flip chart. I got that from Lana Prevette. She trained on that a couple of years ago at our regional rally, and it was awesome. It has changed my sponsoring business. And then I think I tweaked it with the Price is Right. Lana, I apologize if I'm not giving you the credit on that. But I think look at this, it's all backwards. But so you're just going to have to listen to my words, and then I'll post this in the event. But what I'll say is, okay, so, we're going to do this Price is Right style. So I'm sorry you don't win a, showcase showdown, but you do get a Diva dollar. And I go quick. So who can guess the amount of free jewelry I gave away last month? And they guess, and whoever's closest without going over, I'll say, awesome, 1,483. Who can guess the percentage that Premier allows us to keep from our sales? They guess, I pass out Diva dollars, 50%, and that is almost unheard of in our industry. Who can guess the profit I earned from my 8 shows last month? And this is where I always have to say, girls, do not go crazy, because they're like, 5,000, 10,000. I'm thinking, how much are you spending tonight? No. So 8 shows, profit was $1,713. So it worked out to be about, $275 a night to hang out with fun ladies like you. When do we get paid? And they guess, and I say, actually, you get paid right away, because everyone pays you, and then you in turn give Premier their half. How about the number of deliveries we have, our inventory, and our quotas? And I'll say it's all the same answer. And they guess, and 0. Yep, that's right. No inventories, no deliveries, and no quotas. So for example, any jewelry that's ordered tonight will come to Jill in about 10 days. If it's been 2 weeks, she's wearing it. And they all laugh about that. 0. Who can guess the profit I earned from supporting my team last month? Now, if you don't have a team, you just skip this page over. But even if you have a small team, don't think that, I don't want to share those numbers because the number's too small. It's not going to impress them. It impresses them, because you can go on to say, that's a night that you were home and your team was working because you helped train them and mentor them, and now, you do get paid a commission from that. So don't be embarrassed to think that your number is too small. It's not too small. How many shows do you think it usually takes to pay back your $395 investment? And they guess, and I'll say, yep, 1 to 2 shows, and then you're making 50% of everything you sell. That is crazy good. Who can guess the number of free vacations I've earned because of Premier? And they guess. Someone always says, how long have you been doing this? 16 years, 16 vacations. And then finally, I know you can't read this, but it says the flexibility to make my own schedule, give myself an instant raise, be available to my 2 kids, and to contribute significant income to my family's budget is priceless. And I'm the best boss I ever had. So it goes quickly. And then I end by saying, before I was a jewelry lady, I used to be a CPA, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I didn't want to be a broke stay-at-home mom because I like to buy stuff. So I thought I better do something. So if any of you are curious, you just let me know, and I'll send you home with some information to read in your jammies. And so that is my second letter that I do in my purse game. I have P for Premier, M for money, and then I go B for bling, and then F for free jewelry. So I like putting it at the beginning because then I still have their attention, and then I like that after I show the jewelry, I only have 1 letter left. We're just going to do F for free jewelry, booking with boxes, and we're done. So that's what I show them at the beginning. Now, at the end, I give them these clipboards when they sit down, and this is very strategic. So I have here my order form, right? And I have the yellow sticky, that's how they write their notes on it. And then I hide the survey underneath because it hurts my feelings when people start checking no before I've even started talking. So I tell them at the end, one last thing before we add up our Diva dollars, underneath your order form is a survey. And yes, I'll post my survey in the group. If you could take a quick minute to fill that out for me, that would be very helpful, and I will buy it from you for Diva dollars. I'm telling you, that's one of the littlest things I did in my business that has had the biggest results, is buying these surveys for Diva dollars, because isn't it so frustrating when you get them back and all they have is their name at the top? Not good. So, they start filling them out, I put all my jewelry back on, and then I collect them, I buy them for a Diva dollar, and then I look at them right away. And I put all the yeses and the maybes on top, so I know how to talk to them when they come up. So if she comes up to check out, and let's say she's got yes checked, I'll always talk about the business. Let's say she's got yes. Well, let me tell you what it says first. So number one is, would you be interested in receiving free jewelry by hosting your own girls' night out? Yes, maybe later, no. 2, if you promise not to stalk me, I'll admit I'm slightly curious about how the business works, because who couldn't use an easy extra $500 to $1,000 a month? Yes, maybe later, no. So let's say she comes up and she has yes checked about the business. Now I'm just going to be honest, that rarely happens to me, but if it did, I would say, Jill, I see you're interested in getting some more information about Premier. I pretty much told you everything tonight. Is there a time tomorrow that we could meet for coffee and I could just, wrap up the details and see what she says? Because she's a yes, I'm going to go straight for coffee. Now, if you work full time or you've got kids, or that doesn't work for you, you just go straight for the phone call. Is there a time I can call you tomorrow where we can talk through how to get you started? Because I have told her everything. That flip chart, I've told her how much it cost. I didn't tell her about the boutique, but, I'll tell her that later. But I have told her all the important things of $395, 50%, no quotas, so she pretty much has enough information to make a decision. So that's if she's a yes. Now, if she's a maybe, which is far more likely for me, then I would say something like, Jill, I see you're curious about Premier. I pretty much told you everything tonight, but is there a time that I can call you tomorrow just to kind of go through some of the details? What's better for you, mornings or afternoon? And I just pin her into a time. And get her cell phone number. I make sure, so I'm going to call you tomorrow. This is the right number. Okay, I'll talk to you at 10. And then I send her home with some information. And so this is what I've been giving the girls at my show, is these little Chevron bags, Premier Incentives. And then inside, I put the style guide. I put a copy of my first 10 jewelry shows. And then I put in here the one-page marketing plan. And I just redid this. I, again, will post it in the group because I wanted it to have the $395, but I did not want it to have the boutique because I don't want her to go home and look at it and see that it's $900 without me explaining what you get with that $900. So I just have the $395 in here. And then I give her this little postcard. And this is what my team has been doing. I do biz op calls is what we call them, twice a week on Sundays at 4 and Wednesdays at 12. Same number, same call-in every time. I got these printed at Walgreens. I got the idea from Donna Marone last year when she was printing out invitations on photo paper. So I put one of these in here, and then if she's ordered anything, I'll drop her receipt in there, and that's what she gets. So I give this to anybody who said yes or said maybe, but I don't stop there. Because this is my new plan. I got this book in the mail from Nancy Schwartz a couple weeks ago, and it's called Go for No. It is so thin. I read this on a 1-hour flight to Phoenix, super quick read. And this talked about going for the no versus going for the yes. And just the short summary of it was, usually we go for the yes. My goal is 3 bookings. My goal is I want to talk to 2 women this week about Premier. And so we go for that, and then once we get that, we slow down or we stop because we've met our goal. But on the other side, if you're going for no, you're going to go further. So if my goal instead is to get 10 no's, when I start asking people about the business, and I get no, no, yes, oh, I've hit my goal. Remember I wanted 2 yeses, but really I want to get to the 10 no's. So I keep asking and I keep asking. And I tested this out at my show last week because I had printed the sheet. Shay posted this on our Senior Leader Facebook page. I'll add it to our group here. But this has the 100 no's on it. And so I thought, I'm going to ask everybody. I told my team we are going to go for 100 no's. And so every person at the show, I said, no matter what they said on their survey, I said, would you like to take some information home for you or someone you know? And I think there was 6 women there, and only one no. I was like, oh my gosh, I only have 1 to mark off. So when you approach it that way, it takes all that yucky no feeling from you, because you're kind of excited to get the no. So that's something new we're trying. So we're going to go for the no's. I ask everybody, and if she marked no on her survey, but then said yes to taking some information home, to me that's a follow-up. So I'm going to tell her, take this home, look it over, I'll follow up with you tomorrow. Now, when I follow up with those girls, most of them are not going to answer the phone, most of them are not going to call me back, and that's fine, because I'm just committed to the process. I'm going to keep, if you know me at all, I am a system girl, and if I can find a system, I can just run with it. And so that's what I'm doing with the information, really, is just asking everybody and staying committed to the process, committed to the activity, not committed to the results. So I have a couple more things. Let's see what I got here. Okay, so then what you want to do is basically just keep repeating the same thing. Just do the same thing over and over again. Because where we drop the ball, I think, in sharing Premier is the follow-up. I mean, how many times have you been out somewhere and then you run into somebody and you go, oh, she was interested, I know she was, and then I have no context. There's no way to call her back because that's all I can remember is that hazy memory of some time ago she was interested in Premier. So you've got to have a follow-up system. Now mine is the Rory book. And it's so named the Rory book because of my designer, Rory Terhune, who is so organized. She makes me look unorganized. And she shared this one night. So this is a book that I keep all my surveys in. So there's different tabs. They say prospects, show maybes, hostesses, fundraisers, and past hostesses. And so when I have someone who, checks, I'll just stick with the business part, but if someone checks yes or maybe about Premier, I'm going to put them in this prospect thing. Now, I'm just going to be real with you. When I open this up, I only have 1 in here under prospects because I stalked people during that February promotion and all the way up until the first week of March so much that I just thought I cannot reach out to them again ever. I just have to start over. So I only have 1 in here. But what I do is on the back, and I know you can't read this, but you can kind of see what I'm doing, is I write notes. January 18th, invited her to a little black dress. She was an old hostess. January 25th, invited her to the biz op call, said she's too busy with school, try in February. February 27th, texted 1 more time, of course. And then now my notes say, don't call until June, because I've got to give these poor girls a break. But this has helped me a lot. So when Premier comes out with a promotion, you can flip back to these and you have record of people who just said no, not right now. If just because they say no doesn't mean they're not going to be interested in the future. And I should learn my own lesson because I have several jewelers on my team who said no, like Tracy Rita. She's one of my fabulous designers, and she said no for a year, but I kept in touch with her. Facebook does help. You kind of stay in front of people. And then the time was right, and she joined. So I love my Rory book. So what I do is I put people in here, I meet them at the shows, and then I invite them to our calls. So we have calls, like I said, twice a week. And so I keep inviting them, and most of the time they ignore me. So I text about 3 times in a row for 3 different calls. And then I look at my text and I see all me, none of them. And so then I'll do my, hey, just want to invite you to, our call, but I realize you haven't responded. So if I'm stalking you, please let me know. I'm happy to take you off my list. And rarely do they say, take me off my list. So I keep them on the list. And so then I'll probably go about 2 more times. But if I have invited them 5 times to hear about Premiere and did not get any response, I'm going to give myself permission that is a no. So, but that's how I've been doing this, is with my note sheet, my Rory book, and let's see if there's anything else. And really just committing to the process. That's probably the biggest thing I want to say, is because we start something and we get excited and then we stop because we don't see the results that we wanted. So for example, I've been doing these BizOp calls twice a week in March, just like I did in February. In February, we had all kinds of people on the calls. I did one today at 4 o'clock. I called in at 4 o'clock. No one else called in. It was just me listening to the on-hold music for 5 minutes. And am I discouraged by that? Not at all, because I know this works, because I've seen it work in the past. And I know once jewelers start having shows again in March, if they are sticking to this system of doing a sponsoring activity, making sure the survey gets filled out, handing out some information, inviting them to the call, I know that system works and I know it will produce results. So I'm going to stay committed to it no matter what. So as I wrap this up, and I kind of think, okay, what are my last things on maybe what you should do first, is I think first you've got to do what you can to get some shows on your calendar. And that's a whole separate training on bookings and all that kind of thing. And there's so many videos out there. There's so much training on that. Talk to your upline about getting some events on your calendar, because that is where you're going to be in front of the most people to have the best opportunity to find people who are interested in Premiere. And that is where your confidence is going to come from, that you are really working this business. So I think that's it, unless there's any questions. I'm not quite sure how that works. I see people that have joined, but I'm not sure if there's questions on the bottom. So I guess I'll just hang out here. Or maybe I think you're supposed to ask them in the group. So how about this? I will sign off. I will take a few minutes right now and upload everything I talked about. And then if you do have questions for me, just post them in there or send me a message and I would be happy to answer them. So thanks again, Krista, for putting this together. I think you're just amazing at what you do. And so many jewelers are going to benefit from this. Otherwise, happy Sunday, everybody. Thanks.